Hello and welcome to Pet Watch, a monthly program from the Williamson County Animal Center. And we're turning the tables a little bit today because our normal host, Debbie Sims, is retiring next week. So I'm in the hot seat. I get to interview Debbie today.
No, I think I'm in the hot seat.
Yes, I put Debbie in the hot seat.
I'm not used to this side at all.
So Debbie, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you very much.
As I didn't want to accept that letter. We will be sad to see you go, but we are really excited for you in this next phase of your life. But tell us a little bit. How long have you worked for the center?
Well, I started in 2012.
Okay.
And I was doing part-time at the center, and then I've been full-time there about 3 years. So Pet Watch was kind of an idea that I had. And after 1 year, we started it in 2013, and it's just been a lot of fun. A lot of fun things go on at the shelter. I realized after I started working there that the community probably didn't know about. So yeah, so I been doing it about 8 years. So
wow,
yeah,
that's a pretty long run.
Yeah.
So I'm sure in that time you've had some memorable guests. What are some of your favorites?
Well, I have. Every year we try to do a show about fostering kittens. Mm-hmm. So whenever you bring live animals on the show, you know there could be a problem. We've had kittens do what kittens do. Hang on people's shirt or scream loudly when they want their bottle or whatever.
Right.
And we've had some dogs. We've had Leslie Morrison here with her diabetic alert dog to let us know how that dog serves her and the things that dogs can do for people. And he was so attentive to her that he turned his back to the camera the whole show. So we had to make him turn around so people could see his great face. And then one time a dog was playing with a ball and it went off camera and who was there afraid the camera threw it back. So chaos kind of erupted with that dog a little bit, but it's all been fun, and animals are unpredictable. So, right. The WCTV staff I have to say something about them because they are fabulous. They let me run with whatever I'm going to run with. They don't stop me unless I make a huge blunder and help me out. And they love animals too, so it's fun to bring an animal in here and have them see it and have them adapt to whatever we're doing that day. So it's been fun. It is hard to work with animals on camera. They will never do exactly what you want them to do.
Well, you have done quite a bit. I mean, between going on air with the news stations and whatnot. So you've been on air with animals quite a bit. So
yes, I have.
You've had some really good experience with that. So you wear a lot of hats at the shelter. Tell us sort of what your job has encompassed.
Well, I've been, my job's adapted a little bit over the years. Since I became full-time, it's been expanding to include community outreach to schools, Girl Scout troops, Boy Scout troops that want to earn a badge or come to the shelter for a tour, and that's been a lot of fun. I bet we have had every Girl Scout troop in the county there at least one time. They work hard making toys for the pets or having a pet collection, and then they come to the shelter to bring it all to us. And it's so much fun to see the kids, and they have great questions. And there's always one that wants to be a veterinarian.
Yeah.
And they don't know what the shelter does. And so I developed that little program for visits from the scouts, and I gave them a handout to take home to their parents to remind the parents what our ongoing needs were at the shelter, and if they want to volunteer. Let's see, what else? I have worked with many local corporations who want to give back to the community, and we have built cat housing, winter cat housing out in the parking lot, under the trees. We have cleaned the grounds around the shelter, painted fences, painted walls. There's always something to do at the old shelter. Now at the new shelter, we can, you can, because I won't be there, you can expand into all kinds of programming with the space that you're going to have. But we've been a little limited. We had to get creative with what's outside We've cleaned out a few sheds. We've cleaned out a lot of dog pens, painted the dog park equipment. So it's just been a variety of fun things that we think of around the shelter for people to do.
Well, that was actually one of my questions, Debbie, because I know that you have led numerous scout troops, and when you combine kids and animals, you have to have a standout story.
Well, there's always one kid that raises their hand 1,000 times and me, and they're funny. They're unfiltered. They're like that show. Kids say the darndest things. I can't really think of a funny one right now, but one of the things we try to tell them is there are too many cats in our community. And if they're too young, they don't understand what a spay-neuter is. So that's kind of a fine line I've walked before.
Yeah.
And the moms in the room that are with the kids or the parents are like, what is she about to say? And so, we bring it down to their level. We just don't want the cat to have any more babies. And they pretty much accept the explanation. And then the 5th and 6th graders, they're so smart, they know. I say, does anybody know what a spay-neuter means? And boy, they're with it. Some of them are quoting me statistics, and I've learned things from them before. The worst is when we go in the free roaming cat room. I remember one incident. I said, anybody allergic to cats? Because we really don't want them in this room. No. Anybody? No. And we go in there, and one kid just starts itching her neck. She wanted so badly to play with the cats, but I said, let's look through the window. You need to be back out in the hall because... that's just one of the things you go through with them. And we've been through masking. The kids were used to wearing a mask, so we've done a few groups this year after a year off from COVID and not letting any groups come through. And it's so fulfilling because they're smart and they've studied already, and sometimes they come prepared with questions. One of them asked me how many years you had to go to school to be a veterinarian, so we talked about that. What kind of diseases do dogs and cats get?
Oh, wow.
Sometimes I don't know the exact answer, but they pretty much can get most everything you've heard of a human getting. I do know that.
Yeah.
So they ask us how we take care of the sick animals and how long animals stay there. The same kind of questions that adults ask, but, they're just so smart. The kids, they're very well studied, and I'm always afraid they're going to stump me. Right. The 3rd grader's going to stump me. So that's been fun, and I think that we educated hundreds of kids.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and I see the same troops come back year after year as the girls grow older and the boys grow older. They have more sophisticated questions, and the funniest one. There's always one kid that says, "Can I take a dog home with me?" And I go, "Sure. Is your mother here?"
Right. Yeah.
We'll talk to your mom. So they love animals. Kids love animals, and I hope the kid that came there with no pets ends up convincing their family they need one.
They need one. Yeah. I wonder how many adoptions we've had from those.
Who knows?
I wonder how many. But I'm surprised to hear that you would ever worry about being stumped, Debbie, because you're the one employee at the shelter, even more so than me probably, who I've never seen you get stumped. You always have an answer or can find an answer.
Well,
everything.
The answer is always, I don't know, but I'll find out for you.
Right. Yes.
That makes you look brilliant. You're not. So, that's my standard answer when I don't know. And the same thing with the public and the media and adults that come in there is none of us know every answer to everything, but we'll find out because the shelter is such a personal, homey place, and every adoption is taken individually. And I guess that's the one thing I think nobody realizes, that you don't come in there and pick out a dog and leave in 10 minutes. Right. If the dog for you is not there that day, and the meetings you're having with the dogs, we'll just say, I don't think the dog for your family is here today. And we'll be frank about it rather than try to push an animal. So with 3,000 animals a year, that's a lot of personal attention.
It is.
To a lot of people. And,
it is.
And I don't think the public in general realizes you don't just shop for a dog. You have to really feel it, and it has to be right. And we turn people around when they come in that way. You've done it too. So That's
Yeah.
fun for me, is getting the right match.
Well, I know it might have even been someone that you were helping, I remember, came in thinking they wanted a dog and left with a cat.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that's the kind of thing that we like to do at the shelter. We want it to be a good fit. And we also want people to feel like if it's not a good fit, they can come back.
Yeah.
And we're understanding.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things when you first start working at the shelter is if someone brings an animal back. We call it a return. And your first reaction is that they were a bad adopter. Well, I didn't want them to have it anyway. That's a selfish and misplaced attitude. So you learn very quickly, it's okay. I could pick the wrong dog.
Right.
And as the person who observes that, or we have a person that works all day doing nothing but that at the shelter. There's so many positives. You say, that's okay. If it didn't work for your family, we'll put it back in adoption. And I tell myself, and we'll find the right home.
Right.
And then I think it's good that something you implemented is that we have a conversation with the adopter who brought it back. What was the problem? Can you tell us, was there specific things that we need to work on with this animal? And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's like, surprisingly, it did not like cats at all. So that's something we put in their profile. And then we know if the next person comes along has cats, this dog is not going to tolerate. Yeah. So why put him in that situation again? And I think that's a great thing that you implemented was let's get some information. Let's not just say thank you for bringing him back. Bye. I mean, they may not want to stand there and tell us, but we kind of need that information for the best.
Yeah, it just helps us to make a better placement the next time.
Yeah, it does.
So you came full-time to the shelter not too long after I came to the shelter. So I know that we have seen a lot of changes together, but I know for myself there were quite a few surprises for me in sheltering that I didn't suspect. What were some of the big surprises or some of the things that you learned maybe that you didn't know before you came?
Well, I didn't know the extent of our networking capabilities. When we have an animal that has a particular issue that is, say, very old, we can reach out to senior sanctuary rescues, make phone calls, and get that animal placed. We also have had animals that had a behavior issue, that they couldn't be around any other dogs, and they were hard to walk on a leash. But instead of giving that animal, put them in the back room and say, we'll never get them adopted, our volunteers and our staff all come into action. And they say, there's a place in Iowa that I think this dog could go. And miracle, we have had our volunteers drive dogs to Colorado, Iowa, I don't know where else.
I think that those are the two ones that I think Michigan once also.
Which is amazing to me. And that just shows you that our staff is individualized attention to animals, but the volunteers, they take it to a new level. And they take every animal personally, and they get attached to it, and they want the best outcome like we do. But sometimes they have more time and resources.
Right.
And we appreciate them helping us out. But yeah, to hear those stories that two volunteers got in the car and drove to Colorado and met the new owner, just to be sure it was the right, and I know they would have brought the dog back if it weren't.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're keeping your fingers crossed that it stays in Colorado.
Right. And they do great follow-up. And that's something that I've seen change for the better, is seeing animals after they're adopted, months later, thriving in a home and seeing a photo. We never did a lot of follow-up in the early days that I was at the shelter. So social media has made that possible, and I love those stories because every time a dog goes out for a great adoption, another one comes in, and we forget a little bit every time. So to have an animal, a photo of an animal laying on the couch sleeping with a baby, and someone saying thank you for the perfect fit, it just it just makes your job worthwhile. It really does.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you what you're going to do in your retirement. I know you have a dog at home, so I have a feeling Elvis is going to enjoy you being home.
Yeah,
do you have other plans?
I have Elvis. He's a 12-year-old Chihuahua something mix. But he's super sweet, and I hope to travel. As soon as traveling opens up around the world, I'd like to go travel some. I have a grandson that I'll spend more time with, and I do some art projects, which I haven't been able to work on in years. So that's fun. I actually have a list at home of some chores, but I don't know when I'll get to those.
Don't do
like
those.
paint this. No, that can wait. So I'll just relax and enjoy these years the best I can.
Well, Debbie, I have enjoyed having you on. I will tell you that the staff submitted a list of questions for you, but I spared you those because they would have been difficult to answer on camera.
Thank you.
Like, who's your favorite employee, things like
okay,
that.
that's hilarious.
So, but I've really enjoyed working with you. I've enjoyed being on this side of the interview for once, and thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back with another segment.
Bowie Nature Park is located in Fairview, Tennessee. The park was founded by Dr. Evangeline Bowie, who loved nature and enjoyed the outdoors. She purchased this 722-acre forest in the mid-1950s, hoping to plant nearly 500,000 loblolly pine trees to prevent an ongoing loss of soil. Dr. Bowie's plans for land management also included creating several man-made lakes with the use of a bulldozer and an expansive, effective hydrology system. In 1992, Dr. Bowie passed away, but as the city of Fairview had already been deeded the property, work continued as planned. Walking trails were laid out and developed with hopes for a park in the near future. In 2003, Bowie Nature Park was finally completed and opened to the public.
We're about 700 acres that was donated to us, the city of Fairview, by Dr. Evangeline Bowie. Miss Bowie and her two sisters own this land, and they decided to give it to the city of Fairview, so we have this wonderful nature park. We have 15 miles of trail. It's unique in that we have horseback riding and mountain bike riding all on the same trails, along with hiking and running trails as well. Fishing is a favorite pastime by many of our visitors. So at Bowie Park, we have several different shelters that are available for rental by people have come out for birthday parties and family reunions, even weddings out here. We have the outdoor classroom that is perfect for a wedding venue. We use that for our education programs, and our education programs have grown over the last 5 or 6 years. We have our Camp Bowie that runs 6 weeks out of the summer. We also have summer groups from different YMCAs and school groups that come out. And this month we probably had about 500 kids that have come through that program.
Bowie Nature Park is a fine example of the many wonderful opportunities there are to experience nature and get outdoors in Williamson County.
Hi, I'm Debbie Sims, and I am back with an additional segment today. And since I am retiring, I've had the privilege of helping to select and interview people who were interested in the job at community outreach at the Williamson County Animal Center. And I'd like to introduce Scott Pieper. Hi, Scott.
Hello.
Scott has been around the county before and worked in a couple of county positions, and now kind of pursuing his love of animals.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
coming into the shelter. So yesterday we were able to take you out to the new building.
Amazing.
Yeah, was it amazing?
It is amazing. So exciting.
What hit you about it that was, what was the first thing that hit you when you saw it?
Oh, well, the first thing is obviously just the appearance and the size. It's amazing. but then getting inside and walking around, just the attention to detail that has been given to provide the first-rate center for the county and for the animals that will be served there. It is something to see.
Yeah, and you'll be excited to go there in the fall, I'm sure. In the meantime, you're in the old building which is multi-purpose rooms and multi-purpose uses and no real elbow room. So I know you'll be glad to get there. In case people don't know, we are opening the new shelter sometime in the fall, and it's much bigger, like 3 times bigger in square footage, but so modern and beautiful.
It is. It looks like a country club, clubhouse.
A clubhouse, it does. It's beautiful, and you can see it now from Highway 96. If you're out in the West Haven area and you look back up the McHatcher extension, you can see how vast it is. And I know it's a wonderful investment in the county and the people in the county for the animals that we care for. So you're from Kentucky originally? Or?
I am.
Yeah?
I am Northern Kentucky, Florence, just south of Cincinnati.
Yeah. And you've been in Williamson County for about how many years?
Williamson County for 9 years now. Tennessee since 2003.
Oh,
So,
well, most people are either dog people or cat people. So I always ask every guest I have, which are you? And you have...
well, if I have to choose one, I would say dog person, but I am an animal person
Right.
in general. We have 4 cats and a dog, my wife and I do.
Okay. And I know at least one of those cats wandered into your life.
Yes, actually 2 of them. We
2
have
of them?
2
Okay.
cats intentionally. All of our animals are rescues. The 2 of the cats intentional and 2 that adopted us.
Did you have a lot of pets growing up? Or?
I did. I can't ever remember a period of my life of not having multiple animals.
Really?
Cats, dogs, guinea pigs, birds, hamsters.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you could be the small mammal expert at the new shelter. And we have a lot of guinea pigs sometimes, so we may ask your expertise in adopting those. Well, what are you looking forward to in this position? As I think things are going to drastically change when we get in the new building. So what are some of your ideas and goals?
Absolutely. Well, my first goal is just if I can do half the job that you did. I mean, I think I need to be realistic and, listening to everything that you've done and what you've done for the county and the animals. Yeah.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
Following
You'll
big
get there.
footsteps, but yeah, if I can do half as much, I think I'll be doing pretty good. But so really just continuing what you've started and connecting with the community and helping place animals and educate people and then going from there.
I think that classroom we have out there, which will seat 99 people lecture style and about 50 at tables, will open up a whole world
Absolutely.
for you, because all those Girl Scout troops and all those civic groups and all those corporations that have always wanted to help us at the other shelter, we've never had a place for them to gather.
Right.
Did you see any in that room yesterday? Other than accommodating a number of people, we'll also have state-of-the-art audiovisual stuff that we've never had before at the other shelter.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll continue going out into the community as well, but having the opportunity to bring people to the center.
Yeah.
And
the other part that impressed me was the medical clinic.
yes.
It has a whole wing, and one of the things we can do with the community is start some new clinics. What's your thought about that, about providing spay-neuter? Do you think that is something we should pursue and introduce to the community?
Well, as being one of the major objectives of the Animal Center, absolutely. And that begins, that extends beyond just the actual spay neutering, the clinical part of it, but the education and being able to make more people aware of the need for that. Absolutely, controlling.
I like the fact that there are 3 different lobbies. If you're coming to the shelter to adopt, you come in one way. If you're coming to bring in a stray or your situation, owner surrender, and then the medical clinic being separate.
Right.
And the possibilities are really endless for that. Have you been able to learn anything about our animal control officers yet? I think you met with a few of them one day.
I spent some time, and they filled me in on what they do and shared some of their stories with me, which is, I guess, they never know what they're going to wake up and find themselves doing on a day-to-day basis. But I hope to have the opportunity to spend some more time with them and maybe even go on a run with them at some point or something. But yes, I have spent some time with them, and I know even just since I have started, I know they've rescued everything from a little baby bird from a water fountain in a building to, I believe they rescued a horse.
Or was it a mule? I don't know. Maybe an expert can tell us. It looked kind of like a mule, but I wasn't sure. They get themselves in some odd situations, and they've actually, right before you joined our staff, one of them paddled a canoe out to an island and rescued a turtle that was caught in some fishing line.
Gosh, well.
So, it's not always just a stray dogs running around our neighborhood and I've caught it and please come get it. Sometimes it gets exotic. And over the years, I can remember a kitten stuck in a pipe, or locked in a car on a hot day, a dog locked in a car, we're getting into summer and we don't tolerate that.
Right.
And it's supposed to be almost 90 degrees today in the middle of May. So this comes upon people really quick. They're used to cool weather, and then that's another education opportunity that we have for the public. So what are you looking forward to most at the new shelter? Opening day, or are you looking forward to getting settled in and starting some new stuff? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, continuing the things that you've started, and understanding the ins and outs of the center, and you've been doing an amazing job sharing the information that is up here for you, but I know that it can't all magically be transferred.
Sure.
So, hopefully I'm able to reach the point where I know as much as you do, and continuing the programs and services that you've started, and then expanding it.
And you can bring your dog to work.
Oh, yeah?
If you want to. Yeah, once in a while, she'll let you bring your dog to work. Because she started it, so she brings her dogs once in a while.
Okay.
Well, that kind of breaks the ice. We have staff members that have situations where their dog needs to come that day. So whatever it is, that might help.
Fantastic.
Will it behave? That's all we want to know.
Well,
you never know. What kind of dog is it?
Behave.
It's a rescue?
It's a rescue,
Okay.
Yes. No, she's good. She has her own mind, and but she's good.
That's great that you have a rescue animal. That's all the qualification you need. And I know you'll do a great job, and people can look forward to talking to you and any companies or individuals or groups that want to do any kind of community outreach, and that kind of overlaps the education part. So I hope they'll call you at the shelter, and I know you'll do a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. I just want to share real quickly that this is, I know how much you are appreciated by the staff members in the center, and I'm looking forward to getting to know all of them individually here very soon. But I don't know if you're aware of this, that nearly everyone I have spoken with has told me, so excited to have you join us on staff and everything, but I just don't want to think about Debbie leaving.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I know I'm following in some.
Okay, well, I appreciate
big
that.
footsteps, so.
I'll be sure and thank every one of them, and I appreciate that comment. I've enjoyed doing Pet Watch for these last 8 years and so many months, and the show will continue in the future. You'll see Scott here, and goodbye to all of you.